Hello guys, it's BattyMate here again. Today I wanted to talk about BIOSes again. So this time I'm going to start off with how do you find out what BIOS you have on your motherboard. First of all, you just want to type in DX. So you open up start DX diag, right? Then you want to run this. So just hit that. And the first time it opens up, it will ask you, are you sure you want to open this? Blah, 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 blah. And then you have to click yes. And then it opens up. Okay, so now that you've opened up this one, it will say your BIOS here. Mine is F4A. I need to update that again today to F4C, I think it is. So I will go through the whole process of doing this. I've got my USB flash drive. Let me just get into that one. A USB-E right here. I've already formatted it to FAT32, and what I am going to do, I'm just going to leave these other old BIOSes on here because I can, and if I have a problem I can revert to them older BIOSes. Now what I want to do at the moment is, now that I know F4A is what my BIOS is, I want to update it to whatever the newest one is. So if there's no newer one, then you don't need to update. But since there is F4C here, I'm going to go and update to that one. So I haven't even downloaded it yet, so I'm going to download it now. I'm going to save it in my downloads. I'll open up where it's downloaded to. I'll just copy the zip folder. I'll close that. And I'll paste the zip folder into the USB here. Now I've done that, I will right click that one and I'm going to extract all, and I'm going to extract it all in here. So now it's extracted onto the USB-E, which is fine, it's all done. Now what we're going to do is we are going to shut down the computer. Now I will get out my phone, record this bit that when it shuts down, and I'll tell you what to do from there on. So when we click restart, we're just going to start spamming delete after it shuts down, and yeah, let's go. Okay, so what we're going to do is going to start smashing the keyboard. We like to hit the delete key so when Windows starts up, when it goes to the BIOS screen, we don't miss it. So if you're not smashing the delete key, there's a good chance you'll miss the BIOS screen, and that's not what we want to miss at the moment. So here we go, lights up, and we should be on BIOS screen. There it is. Alright, so this is what a gigabyte BIOS looks like on mine at the moment. ASRock, asus, and MSI, they will all look different to this BIOS screen. Now what we will want to find is QFlash, which is down the bottom right. So this is what we're looking for, is something that says this. You can press F8 to open it on gigabyte boards. On other boards it might be a different number. Alright, so what we want to do is hit update BIOS, and then we can actually do an auto scan on this BIOS, which will show us all the things that we had. So now we're going from F4A, which is on the left up here. As you can see, F4A written right there, that's the current BIOS that we are on, and we want to go to F4C, as you can see right there. Now we hit that, and we're going to hit the little arrow down the bottom right. Now this is basically saying, are you sure you want to do this? The system must restart to complete the BIOS, so you hit yes, and basically you just wait for it to verify the BIOS that you're putting on it. If you lose power doing this process, it is a pain in the butt, so don't do this during a storm. We'll get into all that later. So this is just confirming you want to go from the old one to the new one, and we just restart. Now as we wait for it to restart, could take a little while to post back in. Shouldn't take too long. You can watch these little numbers up here on this board. Not every single board has these numbers, so it's saying SF, which is like a safe mode for the motherboard. I'm guessing. Now here we go, it's going around the numbers, and we should be back on. Screen's back on now, and it's verifying the new BIOS to make sure it will be right for this board. And now it's starting to update the BIOS now. As we wait here, so it's going to F4C. Now this can take a while to update, so if you are going to do this, do not restart your computer while it's updating, otherwise you'll probably have a dead computer. It won't start again. And if that happens, there is a whole nother way to fix that up, as long as you have a motherboard that supports BIOS updates without a CPU in it, pretty much. This motherboard on Gigabyte, they have a dual BIOS, so if one BIOS screws up, it tries to revert to the other BIOS to save itself automatically, which can take a little while to post. Now as we're waiting for this, I will show you, it will take a little while for the memory stuff in a minute, so when this is done, which sometimes can take ages, on this one it's not too bad, this board. Most of the BIOS updates are pretty quick. Some can take 5 to 10 minutes. We're going to let this auto reboot by itself right now. It's better to let it do its own thing. Okay, now we're going to watch the numbers up here. So 15 is RAM checking. So it's going to be training the RAM at the moment. It could take a little while to post. We're going to wait. This can take up to 5 to 10 minutes if you have a brand new board, and every time you update the BIOS it has to retrain the memory, so it can take a little while to do every time you want to update your BIOS, but a BIOS update can make a huge difference in performance to your whole computer. So as we wait for this, some people might think it's broken as it's doing this, but just give it a minute. It should be doing its thing. Talk. Here we go, it's changing numbers, that's a good sign. And as it goes through its cycle, it'll probably do another cycle after this one, so we'll just sit and wait again. And I'm showing you all of this, so if someone goes, oh no, it's broken, it's not turning on, they can see it's meant to do something like this. Okay, if you don't have these numbers up, then you could be sitting there for a while going, I don't know what's going on. So yeah, this can take like a minute or two to cycle through, and this one should be its last cycle, usually second or third cycle. Don't mind my dirty desk there, it's pretty dirty. Wait for the post. The keyboard should light up when it posts eventually, but we're stuck on 15 at the moment on them numbers in the case. Oh, here we go. It's moving again, and we're going through the cycle to be, I think it's like C something, and then it posts 4F 70 51 99 B4. That was it, that's the post. And I'm spamming delete to open up the BIOS for a first post BIOS on the new BIOS. Okay, so we're going to open it up, waiting for it to open. Oh, just reset itself again. That's alright. It's probably still going through its memory training. Okay, now we're in the BIOS. Okay, so now it's posted. It looks, so this is how your BIOS will look like if it's new and fresh. It will be most likely in easy mode. We want to go to advanced mode. And here's a little tip and trick that you can do to speed up your BIOS, and you will have to change these settings every time you do a BIOS update. So XMP XO profile, we want to go to that. So if you find XMP, it might be in a different location on another different motherboard manufacturer like asus, asus, MSI, and asrock. So we want to hit XMP1. Now the RAM should be running at 6400 megahertz, which is the RAM that I brought for the computer speed that it was defaultly set to. So now there's another little trick I want to show you. So if you go up to settings and go to I/O ports, what you want to do is turn on above 4G decoding and resizable bar support. If that's not on by default, turn it on. It'll make your games smoother. Now there is another little trick. If you got where it is, I think it's under. Let's see here. No, it's not that one. It's not that one. It's not that. Not that. Let me find it here. I think I know where it is. No. Advanced CPU settings, I think it is, yes. So global C state control, you can turn that off if you don't want your CPU changing its megahertz frequency all the time. So if you want it set to the highest it can go, if you turn that off, it will stop low power mode as well. But thing is, you probably don't need to do that, and this is how you save it. You press F10, and this is what will come up. It will say, are you sure you want to make these changes? And you go, yes. And then it'll do its memory thing again, because it's the first time you're posting the memory in a higher speed, but this is the last time you'll have to wait for the big post, unless you update the BIOS again later on. Now we just wait for it. This shouldn't take as long as the first initial post after you update the BIOS. Here we go, it's already changing numbers. It's good. And we're going to post back into Windows, and I'll show you another thing that you can do in DirectX DX Diag as well. Here we go, B150. Here we go, it's posting in the Windows. Boom, boom. And yes, so Windows might ask you after you do a BIOS update to re-log in to your Windows account. Like this will come up now, and it will say, oh, something has happened to your account, blah 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 blah. It's because you've updated your BIOS, and now Windows doesn't recognize that it's the same computer that you're on. But that's okay. All you have to do is just log in. I'm just going to turn my camera off now, and I'll see you on the desktop. Okay, now we're back on the desktop, back in OBS, as you can see. Now what I want to open is, we can open up DX Diag to make sure our BIOS is right. Now it's F4C, as you can see, we just updated it. The next thing we can do, you can also check out your motherboard, your system model. So, you can find out what kind of board you got. So that might say asus or gigabyte, asrock, or MSI. There's all the boards that manufacturers that there are currently. And obviously that's your motherboard model. So mine, obviously, I'd want to go to the Gigabyte website and download it like I just did. Now, the other thing that I wanted to show you was to make sure your RAM is working the right way. So what we're going to do is go down to the start, right click it, go to Task Manager, right? What we're going to do in Task Manager is, as you can see, I'm using a bit of GPU and stuff. That's all the NVIDIA shadow play and stuff running in the background. Does it? Now, what you want to do is go to, where is it? Memory, right here. My memory says 6,400 MTS. It's 6,400 megahertz. That means that's running at its XMP rated speed. I have 64 gig of RAM. You can also check that in here. I have available 5.2 gig of RAM because it's currently using 9.2 gig of RAM to record and use NVIDIA Shadow Play. But yes. Okay guys, that will wrap it up for this video, I think. If you guys have liked this video, give us a good old handy dandy thumbs up, it always helps out the channel. And hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you all in the next one. Have a good day.